So this afternoon, I'll be discussing about the major points or the overview of overseas Filipino workers through OFW. So OFW means is a term referring to a Filipino citizen who chose to work in a foreign country for just a limited period of employment. Along with the white-collared and the blue-collared workers, these individuals are also considered as the modern-day heroes because of their sacrifices just to provide with their families. Thus, they earned the title of the nation's Bagong Bayani. So, based on the results of the 2019 survey on overseas Filipino workers, the number of OFW who work abroad at any time during the period of April to September 2019 was estimated at 2.2 million. So 56% are the female, while the 44% are the male. So household workers, nursing professionals, laborer, janitorial workers in offices and hotels are some of the major occupational abroad according to POEA, or Philippine Overseas Employment Administration. POEA is a government agency tasked with supervising labor recruitment agencies of the Philippines. So, recruitment and deployment agencies are mandated by the POEA to monitor the situation of each OFW workers, including if they are with their supposed employment, provide assistance of the Filipino worker in case of emergency. So the Saudi Arabia continued to be the most preferred destination of OFWs. One out of five OFWs work in the country during the period of April to September 2019. The other popular destinations are the UAE or the United Arab Emirates, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. The total remittance sent by the OFW during the period April to September 2019 was estimated by 211.9 billion pesos. The improvement of the economy, often attributed to their remittances, further cemented their mark in the Philippines. Although greater opportunities await Filipino migrants abroad, it cannot be denied that they face a lot of challenges as they seek greener pastures. Some were exposed to violence from abusive employers, exploitation, incarceration, which sometimes lead to death sentences, and worse, death itself.
Hardship of overseas Filipino workers or OFW are considered as our modern day heroes because they don't only contribute to our country's economic growth through remittance, but also they sacrifice their chance of being with their families. They choose to work overseas to be able to provide their loved ones regardless of the risk they will have to face in foreign land. First is homesick. One of the biggest challenges of RFWs is homesick. It is because distressing when they miss important events or occasions and not seeing with their kids grow up. But good thing we have internet connections. We have a lot of apps that you can communicate with your loved ones. Then second is communication gap and culture differences. Working in other countries, dealing with the locales and communicating with them can be exhausted. It may take a while for you to adopt and adjust their culture or language, but don't stop learning because that's one thing you need to do when you go to another countries. You need to learn their language and cultures in order for you to easily communicate with them. Then the third is financial. Most of Filipinos think that working abroad will earn them big money, but sometimes they don't receive the high income that they expected since they send even almost of their income to their loved ones and family back home. They need to make a sacrifice and even neglect their basic needs while living in abroad. Abuses that faced by OFWs. So we are all aware that in this case, some of OFWs are not treating well to their boss. And lucky to those OFWs that their boss are so good to them and that they treat them as a family. But we can't deny the fact that there are some employer that are so harsh to their employees, such as first is physical abuse. Yes, some of the employer are being so abusive to their employees sometimes. And the second one is sexual abuse. Yes, sexual abuse is so rampant to another countries because some of the employers are being so abusive, and that they will force their employee to doing sex. And the third one is the excessive long working hour. Some of the Filipinos experience this, that they have a long time of work and not have enough time to take.
19 affected the overseas Filipino workers or the OFW. So the DFA provides information regarding the number of positive cases by region instead of by country in order to monitor the positive cases, and this count is not included in the national tally of positive cases provided by the Department of Health. So a small number of DFA COVID-19 tally has been verified by the Department of Health International Health Regulation. So overseas Filipino workers have been repatriated according to the DFA. The Philippine national government has repatriated citizens from various COVID-19 affected countries and cruise ships, and at least 13,000 overseas Filipino workers have been repatriated according to the Department of Foreign Affairs. The country's flag carrier has volunteered several repatriation flights as of early last March. Of overseas Filipino workers or OFW has been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, and one of the effects of COVID-19 is pay cuts, layoff, and repatriation. Remittances from OFW to the Philippine economy, which would have been served as a cushion to the pandemic's other economic impact, is also likewise affected. So this means the difference between exiting an area that has COVID-19 where an OFW may prefer to be less exposed to entering a situation that might be worse, or there is a potential lockdown, growing numbers of cases, and what is happening with OFW in general if there is lack of access to quality information. So in addition, OFW should be given information of how COVID-19 is being dealt with our home country. So this means that the difference between exiting an area that has COVID-19 where an OFW may prefer to be less exposed to entering a situation that might be worse, or either there is a potential lockdown, growing number of cases, and what is happening with OFW in general if there is a lack of access to the quality of information that makes OFW, the OFW can be either ignorant or worse, speculative when making decisions that can affect them and their families. As much as possible, this decision should done with more concrete information and less guesswork.